we're recording. Welcome to the podcast, Jim and Jake. I appreciate you guys being down, so thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man.
For having us, man.
And for the audience, can you please introduce yourselves? As you guys obviously both play in the band Capillary. That's why you guys are here today. But can you just talk about what you do in the band?
Yeah, Jim, you got this.
Sure. So I'm Jim Leeds. I'm from South Jersey. I play bass in Capillary.
Yeah, and my name is Jake. I've been on this show with you before, Jamie, the homie, and play guitar and sing in Capillary. But not to discredit Colin, who also plays guitar. We wanted to mix it up a little bit from last time because for the demo, I know you had Colin and Benny on, so we're here to tell the real story now. Nah, I'm just kidding. But yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm so stoked, and it honestly feels like it's been ages since the self-titled came out, but like realistically, it hasn't even been that long.
Yeah, time is kind of a weird thing at this point too. Like I was just talking about it, the holidays flew by, but man, yeah, the demo has been a long time just because I feel like we've played. It feels new, but we've played a good number of shows at this point. Just kind of like looking back on everything, because there's just discussion of like now that new music's out, what are we doing with the Instagram, this and that. So I just started looking back at like old flyers, and it's like it's been only like a blip of time, like just about 2 years, but I'm happy to see that like a good amount's been done in that time and like all good things to look back on so far. It's been sort of fun just like mingling, I think, within our two areas of New Jersey. Cause I mean, I've been in bands with like people in maybe New York or Philly per se, but rarely like far out somewhere else in Jersey. So it feels like the purest form of a Jersey band right now. Cause like I'm way more north. The rest of the guys are way more south. So it's like we cover all the bases, and that's just been kind of like a cool like mantra and like thing I look back on is just like the places it's taken us, and even just like hanging out a lot more like in the AC area and south where these guys live. It's just been a good time.
And I'm just curious, like from your guys' perspective, when the self-title finally came out, what was it like for you guys at that point in the band? A new band starting out, and you guys are gonna have to build this name and kind of hit the ground running and just play a bunch of shows. Like, what was that like the early days of Capillary for both of you?
I mean, it was pretty fun, but I think like Jim, maybe even you, because you guys all live close. That's the one
Yeah.
thing I'm the odd man out for where I live. So they spent, I would say, in the early days. I'll let Jim take this, but just preface it with I think they were jamming a lot, especially Benny and Colin in COVID, which I guess they shared just like a bit of that with you in the first podcast. Yeah. So Jim, if you want to
Yeah.
talk
So
about the Northfield days.
I guess, yeah. So it's weird. So it's kind of to that point we had when the self-titled had come out, that was about like 2 years ago, roughly like 2 years. And kind of during that time, I remember in like the months leading up to that, we were playing a lot. I lived in Northfield, which is where Brendan still lives. Colin lived there at the time. So like the three of us could get together at like a minute's notice practically and play all the time. And then I can't remember exactly when our first show was. I know it was in January. That was kind of the goal of like, hey, let's get this out. Like you said, try and quickly kind of get something, some type of a following, see how things go, and then play a show like 2 weeks later, which we did at Bonks in Philly. And at that time, like I remember, I had never been in a band before at all. Like I've played with other people, I've kind of written things, but like getting together with all these guys and playing that show, I remember it was a crazy experience.
And
Yeah.
those early days, I'm always curious because like you guys play in other bands, like from your guys' perspective, like how serious was Capillary like for you guys? And the earliest, obviously, like we're here a couple years later. There's a full length, but I'm just curious about those early days. Did you think you would get to this point?
I mean, for me, it kind of flowed pretty naturally in the sense that, like, I feel like if we didn't have as much confidence in the demo, like in a way, maybe we still would have put it out. But I felt like we hit on something really interesting. I really liked recording with Jake Clark, who just like crushed what we were trying to do, especially I appreciate what he did like for vocal recording, because like like just trying to differentiate between like harsher parts, higher parts, lower parts. Like there's certain techniques you can use to really like bring that out in a better way in recording, so it's less linear and like fits the dynamics. And I think he really tried to do that, and it made what was a demo. Like I listen to it now and I'm like, it sounds like a demo, but I think it just helped light a fire under our asses for just, liking this and finding the time to put the work in to play shows. Because, since then we've tried to just, like, after the first show Jim mentioned, which I'm grateful we did get to play bunks. They're not, I mean, there's still shows, I think, just not as frequently now. And also Salties, they stopped doing shows there in New Jersey, and we got to play some really cool, like, landmark places. And along with some new spots. Like, I've wanted to play in the AC circuit for a long time. We've been starting to do that now. And I mean, we had a show there last year as well. So it's just been good, like, getting around and playing different types of shows, whether they're more emo based, hardcore based, what have you. We could kind of go anyway. And especially with the other dudes, like, actively in verses of the Bleeding and Not One Truth and stuff like that. It's, the whole scene around them in that area stays active. But yeah, no. So I think, like, we didn't really know that we'd end up recording an album, but I can sure as shit say Benny and Colin for a while would meet up to just write instrumentals, and they brought Jim on and me on, and then they've just continued to write. So an album honestly was inevitable. Should have seen it coming sooner, but
yeah, I remember when Colin first sent me the self-titled, and I was just always so surprised because that was not like the type of sound that I was expecting from him. And I was a fan from the beginning because, like, I love, like, that type of music. So and it coming from a friend like Colin, I was like, okay, this is so sick. I hope they continue this. And obviously, like, throughout the past couple of years, seeing you guys stay busy, popping up, playing a bunch of shows, I thought it was awesome that you guys were able to stay busy with the band just starting out.
yeah, no, I'm glad that despite all of us having other projects too, we were able to, prioritize this enough just to make it work. Cause I mean, like I said, like, it hasn't been that long since the demo, but I feel like if the band randomly ended here today or something, we have really good history so far, I think, to look back on just in, like, what we've covered in our little area. So, and with that said, we can say now, like, finally some touring is going to begin. We got a bunch of weekenders planned for this, coming off of this record, that will be starting in February onward. So we got, like, pretty much one a month. And then we're going to try to, push for some local stuff come the summer, but, it's all in the works.
Now, is there anything West Coast related?
We're trying.
Yeah, there's been talks about it, and I think there's, like, enough bands kind of down to do it, especially with like Joey at 51st has some ideas. So I would say soon enough. A little more of, like, an arduous task to get there, but I would love to get out there ASAP.
Absolutely.
I love being over there. So
yeah, and I know that there's a lot of people that love the new record because, trust me, like, when the self-title was out, I was trying to tell everybody about you guys. Because I was just like, hey, you guys always see me rocking this Not One Truth hat. Like, here's like their other band. You should check this out. And people were, like, a little lukewarm because they just weren't really tapping in, like, when they should have. But since the record came out the full length, I see, like, a lot of people, like, showing it love and kind of like finally realizing, like, your guys' like actual potential and how good of a band you guys actually are.
yeah, which I think is gratifying for us. It's also, we've all done it. Like, bands you'll record something that, like, maybe, it's just one of many passions and doesn't become your main thing. It's just something, maybe it has a cool splash, it's a cool demo, whatever. And then it kind of fizzles away, which I guess could happen to really any band that puts anything out. Right. So I'm happy that, like, we put a good amount of time and work in to make it happen, just because, the album rollouts, they're really exhausting. It was great having Joey to facilitate that with us, and someone that has great experience doing it for emo music, hardcore, and pop punk. He's very versed. So it's so everyone really held their weight, I think, in the process, which helped make it a pretty great album. Like, it's like, if we were going to do this from tracking our individual instruments to the tail end with getting our video done, it was just, like, important everyone really, like, gave it their all. And I think I'm just happy, like, with the result. It just feels like a good community effort. And I think just going back to that, like, the ground we cover in the state of Jersey. Like, it just makes me feel proud to like be from the state and kind of like have something that encompasses some realism in areas that are important to me in my area, but also captures a lot of the, important streets, towns, landmarks by the other guys too. So I think there's like a lot of symbolism like that's kind of like threaded throughout our whole state, top to bottom, that sort of like plays a role in this record. And proud we achieved that, I guess, especially with like imagery and photos and stuff. Colin totally crushed that,
Yeah.
just his collection of photos over the years that he then kind of uses to create like artistic layouts and stuff like that. So, everyone really impressed me.
And for a band like Capillary, like you guys can, play the emo shows, play the hardcore shows.
Yeah.
Do you ever put too much thought into that? Do you try to find a balance, or do you just play whatever feels right?
We've had both. I mean, we've had like true mixed bills. I feel like our last show that we played in Atlantic City was like we were the only not hardcore band on the bill, and then me, Colin, and Brendan played with Not One Truth on the same bill, which was pretty cool, and like a lot of our friends were there. But it's I don't know, maybe me personally how much I think about it, just because like I said, like I hadn't really been in bands in the past. I see it as an opportunity to play. I see it as an opportunity to be like, maybe there's somebody there that sees a not hardcore band on the bill. They look us up. Maybe they check out, the most popular songs that we have, see how they feel. And then when we play live, I feel like we do bring a kind of certain energy or whatever it might be. People might not be, moshing and moving around too much, but occasionally they do. And I think people like looking out as we're playing definitely enjoy the music. So I kind of just see it from the perspective of like, hey, we're getting out there to play a show, maybe make some new fans regardless of who we're playing with. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, there was definitely an effort. Like I think like while this is more considered more so like a emo record, I would say we're way more just like in the alternative lens, like especially with the album now. It could kind of pivot in a lot of different directions, I guess. So with that said, and I mean, I personally like not even if it's just mixed bills, but playing different types of shows. A huge music lover. We all are. So it's fun from the fan side of things. But then I think also just, if someone resonates with it, like whether it's rhythmically or lyrically, I mean, that's fine by me, like whatever scene or crowd you come from. I do think you always, you can't deny it just coming out from the hardcore scene or, the fact that like we share members in different bands that like have been through all that as well. You definitely know you're like coming from the right place and coming from like a scene that's sturdy, scene that like helps, facilitate a lot of like new sounds, and a lot of really great bands come out of this. So even though, despite not being a hardcore band, we still, we can't refute the fact that like that's helped giving us a good foundation, even if the hardcore shows are infrequent. But I mean, hey, that last one in AC, we were the only non-hardcore band on it. So, yeah, so it's been interesting, but trying to just keep them coming that way, like all different types of shows. We're down. Rap shows, why not?
Why not?
Well, we did almost play a rap show. So some things came up, but that would have been sick if we actually got to do that. But
well, there's that emo rap genre, so I don't think that's too far fetched.
For sure.
Okay, and I'm just so like in love with the new record in remembrance, but I'm just curious about the rollout, because you briefly mentioned the rollout. You put out the promo October 2025, and I'm just curious, like, how strategic was that, and like how much of the record did you guys have done at that point?
How much did we have done?
Yeah.
So at that point, we had, Jake, I believe we had everything done. Really, it was kind of just picking certain songs that we wanted to put out, what felt more like a single, what felt more for giving people kind of the best taste of what it is that we have, but at the same time, without giving away everything, like without giving away too much. And obviously, we had a lot of conversation, a lot of back and forth also with Joey kind of about, do we do 2 songs together? Do we do all singles? Like, how do we kind of go about this? And ultimately, we made the decisions that how we rolled everything out. And I think we did make the right moves. Because when we first did the demo, we put Soothsayer out first, and then just a couple days later, kind of dropped the whole thing. Versus this time around, we kind of wanted to give people a little bit more of a time to kind of like listen and get it. And then we had our second little drop, and then kind of went from there. But Jake can talk more about that too.
Yeah, I guess it was once the promo was out, like everything had been planned from there. It was more, I think in the beginning too, it was a question of just like a single or multiple songs at once. Cause I mean, it's not an overly long album, but it still is a record. So it's like, you don't want to blow your load all at once, but it had been a little while since we put out music. And I actually think back to your interview with Colin and Benny, where you said like, you're like, I'm satisfied with this amount of music. Like it seems pretty good for the year or two. So I thought back to that. I was like, it's coming on 2 years. It's about to not be a good enough amount of music anymore. And it's like the demo served its purpose for what it was, but and really building up to this, there wasn't a great deal of stress. But I mean, Jim, you remember there was the talk of like, is it a promo or is it just a single?
Yeah.
And I think the promo logic was just to give people enough of what's like owed in that time period. And we knew the record wouldn't be coming out for, a good amount of months at that point. So other than the single with Joey, we just kind of we stuck with the promo and just we're hoping to ride it out from there, because then it's like you don't want to do too many singles if you are going the single approach. I guess with the release, it's like you don't want to do. There's bands that will do like 5 or 6, and then half or more of the album's already out. I know that's like a more mainstream like common approach for streaming, and like I get it, but that is like sometimes like too much of the record's just exposed early. So I think it was just the right amount.
Exactly.
And was 2026 important to drop then, or was it like a timing because like vinyl, or why did you guys wait till 2026 if you guys already had the record already done?
We kind of, I mean, I guess like the significance of that first date in January, we weren't really thinking about it like that. But I think with everything done, we were really excited about just like, I think at one point we were kind of like, how soon can we do this? And then like to your point with the vinyl and with, hey, we did the video with everything that we wanted to kind of get out. That was kind of like the time frame that we had. We were debating like the spring. I know we talked about that with Jake a little bit, but we kind of just, I don't know, we were excited. And as soon as we kind of realized we could get songs rolled out in October and then something rolled out, in December, we were just really excited. We kind of wanted to just put the foot on the gas and just go.
Yeah. But to add on to your question, Jamie, like because we had those 2 songs that we put on the promo, like completely done, and the other songs were recorded, but they were just still sort of like in mixing and mastering, like limbo. So it was like, we were kind of going back and forth with Joey about like when, what we thought about the best strategy just for releasing it. Cause it's like, it's good. I think sometimes an artist just release it in one fell swoop. That can be the best way. But given it was an album, we just wanted to do a little bit of promo. And that's why, those 2 songs were ready to go. So we kind of just went with those. And then once the rest of the album was like, just sent to us, mixed and mastered, we, got it all ready and, made sure our ducks were in order. And that's just kind of how it came to be, I suppose, just because like every song, I guess you could say like those were sort of selected to be the ones on display first. Mm-hmm. So they were sort of prioritized in like the mixing and mastering order, or like hierarchy of how we're doing it.
We were playing them live at that point.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it just ended up, those were the 2 we stuck with. They felt like the most natural to play live earlier on, like a nice gradual transition from the other songs. But I am excited for the live set for the sake of combining integrating the new songs with the old songs. I think that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah.
And when the promo dropped, it was for me a good reminder of like how good of a band you guys are. So that was got me very excited for like the upcoming LP. But I feel like when you guys dropped the Plain V single, I was like, okay. I was like, they definitely have to have something here because this song is so good. Like I literally had that song on repeat.
Thank you.
Like, it was so good. And like I love Joey. I love Koyo. So and I know like you're on the label, so I was like, okay, like I'm surprised by the feature, but I also shouldn't be because of the affiliation. But it just kind of caught me by surprise, but in a very good way. Like I could not stop listening to that song.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm very happy you like it. I think he crushed it. It almost feels more like like uh, a true like mashup in a way. I think, but like in the best way.
It
It's
fits.
like
It feels like it all it works perfect.
yeah, yeah, it came out like an interesting way. And I, you know, choosing that song too, I think it's just like, symbolic for the connection and like the work we've done with Joey. He's the homie. But I think that just gave like, one kind of final like exciting push. It's like the middle of winter, let's just like do something fun here and then like get this record out. That was kind of like the final logic, I guess, with it all. And also, the name of the song itself. I mean, won't dive like too deeply into it because like overall, not we don't have to go too deep about it. It's just more there's a street like in a Wall Township near me that's song's kind of like based on Plainview. So it was like a cool song all around to just like touch on that topic of like experiences, memories in our state, and then bring some Long Island into the equation as well.
Yeah. One thing that always gets me about Capillary is like the way you sound, Jake, because like I've known you for years. I've listened to your other bands, but just I don't know why, but I just think for this band you just sound so like good, but also different at the same time. Because like when the Plainview single came out, I had posted it, and then I had like one of our mutual friends like reach out to me, and we were just like talking about like how good you sound on that song, and it was just it's always a trip to me whenever I listen to Capillary because I'm just like I know Jake, but like I don't know why I'm always like thrown off by how like different but good he sounds.
Damn, no, I appreciate it, man. I really do like that this band and like especially the way the guys will write instrumentally like gives me like flexibility to try different things. Like it's not just one dynamic, and we like all different kinds of emo. So like going in with the pretense of like hey, we're doing this emo band, but we all liked a bunch of different things. So let's just like, we're there's not that there's really no constraints. It's like we know what we like and we know like what boxes I guess to check off for the genre in a way. But then at the same token, it's like I like letting all of our influences shine in this. And it's funny in like some of the articles that came out about the record, it's like they continuously mention like three of the same bands in each one. Which like I mean we reference what we like. So it's like it's no one's fault. But thinking about it more and more, it's like, and I feel like there's just so many more bands that we could potentially sound like that are these. Like I don't even know because they keeps mentioning like Mineral and Sunny Day. But I guess if we bring up a band like Sunny Day, it's just that's an emo band that's quite alternative, quite experimental in ways with where they go with their sound. And maybe, I don't know if we necessarily sound like them per se, but as much as being influenced by the writing style. And I think that's what's super important. So like, if in terms of like influences for this record, I think it's just like taking from bands that we find that are really interesting. And for me, at least, whether they are an emo band, whether they're a punk band, a hardcore band, or what have you, a pop band, like there's like some kind of like inspirational like bit of inspiration I can take from a certain artist with what their approach is to lyric writing, singing, or constructing an album. I'm all for it. Just like a big musical sponge over here, and I think that just like helps me improve too. So I like to keep my eyes and ears open to what's going on and take influences from a few different places.
100%. And I feel like I don't know, maybe that's why I kind of feel like maybe I like my friends' bands more because we all have like similar tastes. And I'm just like, okay, is this my bias showing, or do they just really write good music? So I'm like I'm always like walking that line. Like, no, like this is really good music. It's not because they're my friends.
Yeah, and I mean, hell, I think we all like, in this band, like at some points, classical, like traditional songwriting tendencies that like, can help make, what makes a good song, and so I think while we wear our like emo and like post-hardcore and hardcore influences on our sleeve, maybe a bit at times, there are influences that come out of like left field on this record that, what are you saying, Jim?
I was gonna say for sure. It's like I guess to that point, like I know when sometimes me and Colin get together, we both really like Sunny Day Real Estate. Smashing Pumpkins is another one that me and him, really like. And then Brendan can play pretty much any drum style, any type of beat, any type of thing that you want. And sometimes we'll get together and workshop something with him. It might start out kind of light and it turns into this whole other thing, and then we go, and then obviously Jake's a great singer, can take it in a different direction. Like all the influences that we kind of have, I guess it's tough to kind of put us into one box. It's kind of tough.
Yeah, I just tell my friends or whoever I'm trying to like sell like you guys to. I'm just like, okay, you like emo, just listen to them. You like them.
Yeah. No, I used to like care a lot more about like it's like we got to nail the genre. You got to respect the genre. Like we got to do all the conventions of it of whatever genre you're doing. And like to some extent, I still do care about that. But with this record, I think I really was like, let me do like what like I guess for vocals at least, like what is less expected or like what would naturally what I would think should come out of me, let me do what naturally comes out of me, I guess. Like, let me do what feels right for the song and like just kind of like focus on like feeling what we're doing rather than at times like conventions can be helpful, but it's like sometimes like when you look at like the conventions of a certain genre, you're like, okay, well, I have to do this here. And I think that can kind of like hold some people back as writers or pigeonhole you in a way. So that's why I think there was this bit of a shift, I guess, from the demo, but like at the same time there's double the amount of songs, so that just there's more room to I guess express that and kind of grow that sound.
Yeah, from my perspective, it feels like from the self-titled, you guys were still trying to find your footing with the sound, but
Sure.
with In Remembrance, I feel like you guys just found it. Like it's like you guys like kind of like know like what you guys are like trying to do now, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
I saw the response that we got to some of the songs that we did on the demo and how it would feel to play them. And then you would, at least for me, when I'm thinking about what to do with bass, taking similar lines, maybe going a different direction with them, playing the different, different tempos. And then, from the demo, we had Soothsayer, which was, a certain way. And then we have Wilting and Chasing Shadows that are all kind of like different. We're feeling out where we can go. And then on the newer stuff, there's still bits and pieces of all that. But then also, kind of working in a bunch of new, new sounds too.
Yeah, and like I think I'm going back to like why I'm grateful for like how we've recorded, because I mean if the demo experience maybe came out like not how we thought it would, or it didn't really get like the TLC that I talked about before from Jake Clark, like just to like record it really the right way, like really if we're gonna do this sound, let's do it this way. I think that really helped motivate and then like move things forward in that way, because you go back to the demo and it sounds a little skeletal now, but like I think we just felt like potential from each other from it. So it's like when you have like that TLC with recording a project, even just a demo, it really, it goes a long way, I think. Just for yourself too. It's like to look back, like it's not, I have so many like old hardcore bands I've done where it's like, wow, this demo I have is just awful. Like it's great to look back on how bad this is, but like at least with this one, I could be like, all right, it's good to look back on. This holds up in our set still. Like
For
it's cool. And I guess really, it sort of morphed more into an EP than like a full-fledged demo, I guess. But it is what it is. Good time nonetheless.
Okay, and I'm just curious about the music video you guys shot, because I was I saw that you guys were shooting music video, but I was expecting it to be from one of the singles that came out before the record. So I'm just curious how you guys decided to do music video for Disaster Perspective.
Well, that song was kind of like the order in which we did the track listing. We poked that song closer to the end, but it was a song I think was just like as we started playing it live. So we were playing Lost Sleep and Time Before the Order for a good amount of months before those songs even came out. But I bet I would say the last quarter of 2025 or like last spring into the summer, we added we added disaster perspective into the set, and I think we just really it became a way more like precious song to us. That's at least my opinion. Like just playing it live, we really got inside it. And I think there were like the live version of the song almost goes into to a different place than the studio version does, but they both I both like them a lot. I like them both a lot, so I think it really it just became more precious to me as we played it live, and I was thinking like should this be a single? Should this be one of the singles? And we didn't really we already put out the promo. We had that in mind. So it just sort of became like as some say, the focus track of the record, where it just like I guess we felt like the video would be good. It's a it's not like an overly aggressive song, but it's not an overly soft song. It felt like a good like it almost feels like the heart and soul of the record. Like it really like roots it nicely. And it I guess just it worked for the video vibes. We were going to play a show. We had not a lot of time before the record came out, but we really did want to do something. So we were going to play a show in upstate New York and just thought, let's bring our homie around that Jim actually. Jim can add on to that part, but brought him to the show and just took some footage of what we do and that became the video for it. Yeah, but Jim, if you want to talk about like your
Sure.
buddy everything, because
We had been talking with Joey about potentially doing the video, and we were trying to squeeze it in for the album release. And we kind of had a date circle on the calendar, which was like, hey, we got this show in early December. And my buddy that Colin and I actually went to high school with, shout out Andy Smith, has been making videos, editing videos, doing things like that since he was in grade school. And he's a big fan of Capillary. He's come and seen us play live. He's taken pictures of us before and some other bands. So we reached out to him. We rented a old school camera. Looks like we shot it in 2002 or whatever it was. He got some great angles and B-roll of the song, put it together, had a couple back and forths in the weeks leading up to the release, and then that was what we had. We got it done on the budget, that we had, and we ultimately are really happy with how it turned out. I think it kind of fits fits us pretty well, and it does the song justice, I think.
yeah, we just wanted something like special for that song, like when the record came out, just as a way to kind of like send everything off. And like I said, like playing that live, and now that it's out, I'm even more excited. To pick back up when we start these shows in the new year. Definitely a favorite for me.
For sure. Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I love when bands, take that extra step and do a music video, because not every band does, but when they do, I'm like, okay, this is awesome. It just makes me just like the record even more.
Kind of adds another layer. I mean, we were talking about like, do we want to do something maybe where there's like a plot or there's something kind of going on in the background? But then what kind of wound up happening is it's the story of us going and playing a show at
Yeah.
a park, which was awesome, and people were having a great time, and they got us playing the song, and then you see us start the set, you see us end the set, and it kind of just hits the nail on the head.
Yeah, that show was awesome. It was actually at a more so hardcore show in Peekskill. It's like right in the Hudson Valley. A lot of the heavy bands that come out of there are crazy. So a lot of moshing at that show. Our set was a little more tame, but to be honest, people were still moshing for us there. So those kids out there are crazy, and it was at the skate park nonetheless. So felt like a good vibe, like very 2001 kind of feel.
Yeah, I've never been to a show in like a skate bowl like that before.
Yeah, it was like a legit skate bowl, and they like it sounded pretty damn good too. I mean, I've been in like warehouse shows, I've been in a lot of crazy places for a venue, but like I played a show at a skate park, but it was much smaller than this one. So this was pretty legit. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear that you guys were able to roll out there and the kids were, still, so energized to even be moshing during your guys' set.
Yeah, my friend sent me one of the stories from that, and he's like, "Wow, people are really windmilling to you guys out there, huh?" I was like, "It's what it seems." Yeah.
That's awesome. There's another feature on the record, Daisy Doom. I'm just curious. Can you talk about how that came together?
Yeah, she's our homie. I mean, she's from South Jersey,
Yeah.
so like it only felt right at a time where in New Jersey there's not a lot of like emo bands just going as emo, but
Mhm.
she is, and we partnered up a lot for shows like over the last year and a half, and I think for that specific song in particular, it just kind of like felt right to have an additional voice. Some of the songs on this record will switch around to like different characters per se. Not that like it's anything in particular, but just kind of like playing with different ideas and concepts in each song. So it felt right to get like a different voice on there. And I just like the way it sort of blends. I really like her voice. And I'll play with her band sometimes too. And it's a blast. And it made for like sort of an eclectic, I think, like array of features. Not that there's, it's just the two, but
Mhm.
it was almost like a feature on both extremes of our sound, at least for this record. Like one of the more aggressive songs and then one of the softer songs.
Yeah, I remember when I was listening to the record, uh, I think I might have been at work, so I just had it in my AirPods. The record's playing in my AirPods, phone in my pocket, and it gets to that track, and then it gets to her part, and I was like, "Is there a girl in the band now? What the heck's going on?" So I pulled my phone out and looked, and like, "Oh no, it's just a feature," because I was just like so caught off guard 'cause I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah,
It
you
was
thought the only girl in the band was me, right? Not mistake.
no, no.
But yeah, it I think it almost blends too well. Like, I mean, Justin crushed the mix. And I think like maybe just like the frequency we're singing at, but I sort of liked that more. Like it doesn't like break the song up too much. Like in the way that the song with Joey is very like there's distinct part changes. That
Mm.
one kind of just like impermanence, that song kind of just like keeps moving with this like building thread the whole song. And I do like the way like her voice just sort of seamlessly integrates. In a way, like I wish we could have done more, like a bit more of her on the record, but I really do like how that song came out. So I'm glad she got to be a part, just because she's definitely a homie, and we'll probably play with her again. Hopefully, she can do that part live as well, along with
That's,
Joe. Joey
that's
will be a hard man to pin down, but we'll work on it.
For sure.
What'd you say, Jim?
I said that's the goal. That's the cool part about doing features is it sounds great, when you're able to listen to it on the CD or however it is. But then if we, play with Daisy, we play a show, we can put that together. And then, like you said, if we can get a show with Koyo, kind of, go from there.
Yeah. Or we could now you have the opportunity to get anyone though, like your homie who kind of sings. It's like, yo, do this
That's
part real quick.
all them out. Hold the mic out.
Yeah. My other my other hardcore band I play in now is called Body Lock. And my friend Drew was like doing harmonies for our set when we played at Maggie's, but it was kind of funny. Like he was like he was like staying on stage with us for all of Chasing Shadows, just rocking the harmonies. And I was like, damn, I didn't expect you to do like the whole song, but it was kind of sick because we need more harmonies live. That's our New Year's resolution. There's live harmonies in Capillary. But we'll get there.
All right. Like additional people, or do you want like Jim to like step up and
See, that's the
Jim
thing.
would be
Like,
if Jim could step up, that would be great.
I
But we won't.
don't think I have the voice to do it. I think we could have, potentially Benny doing it. He actually did do some on Eighth and Monument, got him going
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
He,
All the screams were Benny. If you
yeah,
hear screaming on the album, that was
he
him.
definitely can do it. We can get him a headset or a drop down mic or something crazy, and let him go in.
okay. Well, that's cool. Well, I'm glad to hear that you guys have goals for 2026 to
Mhm.
improve the band. You guys are already good.
Oh yeah, we're hiring a whole like string quartet for the stage show, dude. It's gonna get crazy.
So
Which I would. So
there was 10 tracks on the record. Were there any more that didn't make the cut?
Well, it's funny you say that because actually Eighth and Monument was one that we intended to have go on the demo. That was
yeah,
recorded at back we had recorded back then and it just didn't make it on and we felt like we have this great song we gotta use it, but from this time around we have a lot of stuff kind of in the bank, but I would say that everything that we wanted on there, at least it in my opinion, made it on.
yeah, it's pretty intentional, I would say. And like it I really stopped thinking about until today. I was saying to someone how Eighth and Monument was a carryover from the demo because like kind of fit, but it was kind of different. And I'm glad we saved it
For
because
sure.
I think the bit I had like when I started writing lyrics for it were different than how it ended up on the record. And I do really like how that song came out. So I think it was for the best.
Yeah,
But yeah, I guess for everything else was pretty intentional though.
Yeah.
that's cool. You guys, were able to create a great body of work. That's awesome. And I'm curious about the recording process. You guys went with Justin Bartlett for the whole process of creating the record. I'm just curious how you landed on him to do everything.
Hmm. Well, we I guess after we recorded with Jake for the demo, we let things marinate a little bit, and when it was time to go back to record, we started talking with him again, and we had a great time with Jay Clark, but like he's been pretty busy. His bands are killing it, picking up, doing the whole nine. So he just kind of suggested and put us in touch with Justin and just the Studio Four guys, and I think Justin really like understood what we wanted to do. He really, since the beginning, kind of took like meticulous time going through and tracking things properly, and from start to finish, like even towards the end with our arrays of notes and different things we wanted to do with the mixes. He was right there and all for it. So, it's the sound is definitely more like elevated from the demo, and we knew that going into it. So, it we had like this opportunity with, well, do we want to, go to Studio Four and see how we can really flesh this sound out? So there's like, on the one hand, do we want to just like keep staying in like demo territory and try that again? Because I think we all really liked that sound. And it's like, you don't want to drastically change your sound, right? Especially on the next release. Like this is only our second release, but I think that was still achieved and like especially made clear to Justin. But inevitably this was going to be, something with bigger and broader sound quality in the end. And we knew that. And I think, given that the project was meant to be a record, I think it serves, this body of work at least.
It's
And, yeah.
that being local guys. I mean, everyone knows Studio Four. Everyone knows the bands that have, recorded there and Will Yip and everything going on and it's like, it's to have had that experience and work with Justin was awesome. It was great.
Yeah, it was kind of like a sort of like a no-brainer at a point. It's like, I mean, Studio Four is amazing, and they recently moved too. So I mean, it's now they're in Philly, and the studio is like amazing looking. So I mean, they're really they do some good things there. But I'm sure that we all know that. So it's a great, like I guess just for the memories of like simply chilling with Justin and doing the whole nine. Like it's like we're at this place with like such a great legacy and so much lore, but we couldn't have had like a chiller experience there. And there's really low stress when recording the record too. Like stress to get it done and get it done right, but like it just felt good to be there, felt good to do it, and like never like any uncomfortable moments. So all around I can say the demo and this record, like both just two really good recording experiences for all of us.
That's awesome to hear. I always forget that Jay Clark records bands. I remember when I found out that he recorded hardcore bands. I was like, why am I surprised that he does this? Because obviously, like I'm a fan of his band, so that like that's like the lens that I view him, through. But then it's like, oh yeah, he does other cool shit.
Yeah, it was like I didn't know until like maybe a couple years into getting to know the other fellas that like he was recording all of Not One Truth stuff, which like that's sick. It just, it wasn't so much that it was shocking. I was just like, oh, really? Like that's who's been, doing all of their stuff. Those are pretty gritty like releases. So it's cool that he even did all that. And then, to hear like what he did with Capillary and, I think he records some of his own stuff too for like his own soul stuff, if not some of it. So, I mean, it's, he's a guy that knows what he's doing. And, he put us in good hands with Justin. I think he was like, this would be your guy. And, just really, it feels like a slightly more elevated version of that sound. And, perhaps the demo was just a little darker. Like that's one thing, like maybe I've noticed through all this, but, I don't really think that's like a bygone necessarily sound for us. There's still elements of that on the album, and it's still something I think we'll explore because we already have stuff cooking. So
We do.
yeah,
Yeah, well, shout out Justin, because I was kind of familiar with his work, but I went to his website and he has like everything that he's worked on his website, and I was just so surprised. Like, holy shit, he's worked on like some bands from out here, and yeah, just a lot of cool stuff. So I think he did an amazing job with your guys' record. So I'm happy that Jake made that suggestion and put you guys in good hands because the record came out awesome.
yeah, and I think the thing I could say the most is like how much I appreciate the way there's like a few like production choices I think we all like really wanted in the end, and that comes from like back and forth on mixes and trying this and trying that. And I'm happy he like was fine with all of that because like I think those little things are what really like puts an album takes an album to the next level and like puts it in a place where like it hits the way you want it to hit because like you worked on it in the way that I guess that makes it like sonically pleasing for the entirety of the record. So I think he really helped helped us with that in what could be annoying, he took with stride.
We had a lot of back and forths about we would get things, and sometimes we have like version 4, version 5, whatever it is, and we're really just trying to like narrow it down as best as we can, all 4 of us. And then Justin was always very quick with like getting things done, getting it back to us, keeping us happy. He was great to work with.
Yeah, and it's like even with mixing too, it could be as simple as like some aspect is maybe in the forefront and some aspects are in the background. So it's like trading them off, like hearing how this sounds this way and this other way. You just have to experiment a bit. So like not even that, it's like no, it's more just like a thorough kind of like analysis of like how it's being produced, how it's being mixed. And then in the end, I think like that can kind of show if you took the time to just give it the TLC to like make sure everything hits dynamically. That was a big thing on this record is like our dynamic choices and making sure things punch and hit the right way. So yeah, happy with our recording choices.
Yeah, I feel like you guys nailed it. This is like one of those albums where like I don't like dread any tracks. I'm like happy to listen to the album, front to back, because sometimes I'll put on an album like, all right, there's that one track that I just don't like, but I just don't want to skip, so I just have to just get through it. It's a little torturous, but
yeah,
but not with your guys' new record. It's awesome.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. I'm sure there's someone out there that's dreading something on it, but that's all right.
And okay, well, I love that you guys released it early January. The year just started, so I feel like obviously you mentioned that there's already things planned for a bit, but I think it just kind of creates like this just open plane for you guys. You guys kind of just like set the tone, especially for like your genre. You guys just put out this awesome record, and I just like the sky's the limit for Capillary this year.
We feel that way too. We're all really excited, like Jake touched on earlier. I won't give away too much because not everything's kind of been announced yet, but we do definitely have some shows, some weekends in the works with some great bands, playing some new places. One of the things we talk about things we wanted in 2026. We've played. We did Delaware, we did Philly, we've had a couple in New Jersey, North and South, but now we're really trying to branch out, kind of get to some new states, play in front of some people that we haven't got to before, and then meet some cool people around the way, keep playing our music, and then kind of take things from there.
100%. What I think would be cool, especially since it's like you guys are still pretty early on in your career, and you guys are on an awesome label. Shout out, 51st State Records, and I feel like they're building a cool roster because I'm a fan of Lovesick. I love the drummer. Shout out Gino. He's like one of my favorite drummers in hardcore. He's awesome. So I think it'd be cool to do like a run with like just all 51st State bands.
We've definitely talked about that. That's something I know Colin has definitely discussed that with Joey, whether it be in Long Island, some type of showcase or some type of thing. Again, nothing concrete yet, but that's definitely something we have discussed. I think that would be really cool. I agree.
Sure. I'll do a run with Life Taken anytime.
Yeah,
that band is crazy.
Shout out Jimmy, bro.
Yeah, that band is insane. But yeah, I love the roster that's being built with 51st State Records. So it's just cool to watch because it's just like, like I said earlier, I love Joey, so it's cool to see what he's cooking up over there with all these awesome newer bands.
Yeah, and he's like another guy. He loves music. He loves the scene. So while still doing Koyo, he's able to put bands out that he likes. Whether it's for the homies or just bands he really fucks with, and that's cool. That's just like at the end of the day, like where no matter like where your life takes you, whether you stay in music or not, like that's just being a fan of music. It's like wanting to do things, for it and to further it. So the fact that like this dude's like on tour in Europe and he's like talking to us about the record and we're doing this, we're doing that, that's just like straight passion right there. So, that's what helps, curate and what helps you curate and put out a good record. And, like going back to just everyone playing their part and like caring enough to make it really happen in a cool way.
100%. Okay. And, just, putting a cap on it, do you guys have any like, personal goals that you want to see with the band that you haven't talked about?
I think I think all four of us do. I mean, at least for me, like I said, this is my first like band. Like I play in Not One Truth as well, but this like my first kind of band experience. And I know from talking with Jake, obviously All Under Heaven is one of my favorite bands. Listen to them all the time. Like they're like the types of shows and the types of things that they have done, cross country type of things, and I think it would be great to do something like that. Someday maybe get to open for some. We did open for Drug Church last year, which was an amazing. I mean, that was an amazing experience at Salty's. But maybe open for some, for some bigger bands, and then just play, like I said earlier, some new cities, cool cities, and yeah, kind of just grow the band, grow our sound, and continue to write and put music out for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to just kind of keep expanding the sound. Like, I think because you mentioned how like on our demo, sort of just like one song of each subgenre within one genre in a way, and like this album, we kind of took it further because we had like 10 tracks, 10 opportunities to do so. So I think just for the next record, like keep experimenting with that sound, even if it's like we used saxophone on this record because Justin played sax, which we actually should have mentioned. We were talking about Justin, but I mean, this dude's like a savage at saxophone. It makes most things better. I felt like for a second, the interlude sounded like the 1975 or something. I mean, that shit sounded crazy. So we use a lot of piano in Capillary. Specifically like their friend in South Jersey is he's a great piano player, and he'll contribute sometimes a lot of these like ideas or broken little fragments of playing, and it almost reminds me of like a boxcar racer or something like that, like back in the day, like just throwing some real somber like tidbits of piano as like a connecting force throughout the album. So that's something we like. So Justin being able to like layer his own sound of like saxophone playing on it was super cool. So I guess that's a goal for me, is just keep experimenting with this sound. Cause like, again, like we know like the boxes to check off for the most part for the genre to stay within the emo genre, but like work, what can we do to take it a little further, cause like on this, I think there's slight, very, very small hints of shoegazy, grunge gazy moments, or maybe more like droniness or post-hardcore or pop punk or what have you, like with some of the styles I'm going for, even pop. Yes, there is an influence of pop in some of what I like. So I think like it comes through to kind of like it sort of manifests itself into something different through the emo lens. So I guess it's just, to continue furthering the sound and play some more shows. I'm really excited to play these songs live though, because as much as I love the demo, my God, we played a lot of shows with that demo. So this will be fun.
We got to work. That's kind of like probably our next goal is to iron out a set list, go back and forth. I'm sure there'll be some, a meeting of the minds, get a set list ironed out, get together, practice it, and then take it on the run.
Yeah, but I will say, if anyone's watching this on the West Coast or around there, we will play the whole demo when we come there, because I can't act like we've already done that. So we definitely will. That'll be fun.
Oh yeah, well, I'll be looking forward to it. So I can't wait for that to happen. But obviously, you guys play in other bands. can you talk about anything that's going on with your other bands, Jake? And then Jim, we'll get to Not One Truth in a second.
Yeah. So that's kind of like this band was built around that. Was We met in other bands. We met specifically in hardcore when I played in Shackled. That's when I first spoke with you, and Benny and Colin played in Not One Truth at the time. So for a while we would see each other at shows, and it just one thing led to another. We hit it off. We became friends, and really, I was so steeped in that world for like a long time. Like Shackled was very busy. And then as things kind of like settled down there, that band stopped for a period of time, and All Under Heaven was picking up, I guess, a good bit. All Under Heaven had been a band for like a while though. We played our first show in 2018 as a different band, Collider. It was originally called, which is the name of that first EP, and it was Nick on drums singing, but he was singing while playing drums, and I think Aaron was playing guitar. Yeah, it was like the same lineup as now, but just Aaron and Nick were switched, and Nick still sang just while playing drums. So I mean, it's been the same set of guys the whole time, and I mean, while the touring that band's done has been quite I mean, it's been a bit extensive, but at the same time, like even AUH now is in like a writing phase, so there is like a little run coming up with Glare, but otherwise we are kind of like in this phase of just like writing and figuring out that sound too and expanding that sound. And then I also have been playing some shows with hardcore band Body Lock, it's called, and that is just a New Jersey like shore style mosh band. It's a lot of fun. We played a show the other night with like Missing Link and a few others. It's pretty cool. So like, I still love hardcore. It's not that like I still, love going to shows, and like just between Capillary and AUH, it's just, and regular life stuff. I don't have as much time to like be in a band, I guess, like as active as Shackled per se, but I still love playing it. So like I had a blast playing that set the other night. And that just again goes back into, I think, just being a fan. Like the feeling you get from playing a hardcore set is different than say a Cap set, but two different feelings, but they both feel great. So I like, as a guy that is a multi-genre dude who likes a lot of genres, I'm really like grateful to be able to do that. It's like the kind of thing that just fills your cup, And then Jim, I guess, Jim might be an emo guy, but he's in some real ass beating bands these days. So
that's the funny thing too. So playing bass, like Jake said, like the different kind of vibe, like playing bass and Not One Truth, and watching Brendan get back from behind the kit to get out front and just yell and be moving around, and Colin's still shredding on guitar, and then obviously our other buddy Dante playing other guitar, and our drummer Joey. We all, not to give away too much, I know Colin and Dante and Brennan have been working on some new stuff, and we don't have any shows lined up. But ultimately, like I would look forward to definitely playing more with those guys, getting out there. It's been a really cool experience, and getting to just play music with my friends, and that's to me like that's been really cool. And then, being involved in the behind the scenes stuff, and then kind of keeping it a secret, and then being like, oh, here we're playing this show, we're doing this, and everyone getting excited. It's pretty great.
Well, that's good to hear, because one of my friends from Mexico, he posted a story about Not One Truth. This is like months ago. He posted a story about Not One Truth, saying, oh, like I wish they would do stuff, and I was like, wait, they are. I was like, you just gotta wait. Like this band is nowhere near done. They're just working on their own time. Just be patient.
Everyone's just got their hands in kind of different things, but when the time's right and we get a date that works for everybody, I don't see why we can't, make it happen, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I have the hat. It's like back here, like on a bunch of K-pop albums. But like I've worn that Not One Truth hat like all over the world, and it was always like a good conversation starter, because I'm like super antisocial. But like people would ask me about the hat. They're, oh, hey Breed, and I'm like, yes and no. But you got to check out the band from New Jersey. This band is so sick. So yeah, I love that hat. So shout out to Not One Truth. Looking forward to new stuff whenever it comes out.
Absolutely. Thank you. And then, aside from that, I'm not in this band, but Joey, our drummer, is playing with Pool Scum. I'm not sure if you've heard of them. They're from South Jersey, like kind of our area. They did go like guess kind of viral on TikTok for a little bit. And then Brendan, Dante, and Colin have Verses of the Bleeding, which is another project they're doing that's really cool. They got a show in Atlantic City coming up. I'll be there for that. Really just all great stuff.
I didn't know that your drummer was in Pool Scum.
He's been playing, yeah. He's been playing Joey. Yeah.
Very eclectic mix out here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And Jake, going back to All Under Heaven, like obviously like I've known about the band because of, you know, I'm friends with you guys, but I didn't know how like, you know, like popular you guys were, because like it was like seeing you guys on the internet, or even like, you know, running into people who would bring up All Under Heaven, not knowing that you know, they like, you know, were into the band. And I was like, wow, like this band is, you know, pretty popping. Like a lot of people like this band. So it's cool that you guys have been able to, you know, stay busy over the years. And it was cool to see that you know, run get announced with Glare, because you know, Glare is awesome. That band is huge. You know, so I have a buddy that plays in that band. So it's cool that you're gonna be able to do that coming up soon.
Oh, I don't know what just happened.
I don't know. I think you froze when I was giving All Under Heaven a bunch of praise. I think he froze. He froze again. He might be getting a phone call or something. Oh,
It says he left.
Yeah, he's gone now. Yeah, maybe he'll rejoin. Technical difficulties, that tends to happen.
He just texted me, said, I don't know what just happened. Yeah. It said it first. I don't know. Yeah.
It's all good.
He's going to restart his Zoom.
Okay. We'll give it a second. But Versus of the Bleeding, shout out Marty Williams.
Exactly. Yeah, he's wild. Obviously, he's playing bass with them, and he's a really good dude. I wasn't super into really the hardcore scene up until I met these guys, but I've kind of been filled in on all the lore and all the stuff, you know, with him, and it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, you know, I met Colin at Marty's house. I'll never forget, because you know, I hit up Marty. Marty was like, yeah, like you can stay at my house. But he didn't let me know that there was going to be other people staying there, like until I got there.
Okay.
And I was just like, you know, just curious. I'm like, oh, like who's coming? And he's like, oh, like this dude Colin from New Jersey. Like you guys don't have beef or anything, right? And I'm like, no, like I don't even know who he is. But just meeting Colin, like just his personality, he was just so cool, so nice right off the bat. So like him and I have always like, just like from the moment we met, like we've been super cool.
He's a great dude. I mean, I did go to high school with him. We were from different towns, so I always like knew of him. We never had any classes together, but after we graduated, followed each other on Instagram, and I would be seeing him posting stories of like Appleseed Cast and like Penfold and all these bands. I'm like, dude, like how do you like, do you know what I mean? And I would reach out to him, and then that's kind of how like everything kind of started with us. Like it was just really funny. But yeah, he's a great dude.
Have you participated in his cornhole tournament?
I have, actually. Yeah, the past, I think, two I was there for. I don't play because I'm not really any good at that, but I definitely go and drink and just kind of hang out and, you know, maybe request songs, you know, guest DJ type spot. Like, yeah, no, it's awesome, though. It's a legendary thing for sure.
Yeah, no, like every year it comes up, and I'm like, oh, that's so sick that he's still doing it, because he told me about it like, and this was like years ago. So it's cool to see that it's still going.
It's been really cool, and that's how I've gotten to meet kind of some of the other, you know, guys in his crew, and people like our friend Justin that played piano. He goes, and then meeting some guys kind of in like their, you know, kind of the hardcore scene. Like I've met a lot of I've had a lot of good times hanging out with these guys for sure.
Drake is back.
The call like cut off. It like froze twice every time I joined. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
We'll have a different view for the rest of the call now.
You can't go landscape.
Yeah. Well, here, wait. Now I am.
Okay.
There we go. I switched from I tried to rejoin on my computer and it just like kept freezing on you.
Yeah, that's okay. You didn't miss much. I was just complimenting All Under Heaven.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I forget what exactly that's what it froze on. Sorry about that.
No, you're all good. But it's cool that you guys are able to do this band Capillary and continue to just be this like shining light for New Jersey, because New Jersey is like like in the past like 5 years has just been a bunch of cool shit coming out, and still a bunch of cool bands coming out, like the Bayway is going on tour again. um Hellfest is
Yeah.
making its way out here, so
No, yeah, it's Jersey's great. I mean, it's very eclectic what's going on over here too. But yeah, I think for like hardcore, it's thriving a lot. Like, yeah, especially with Hellfest, and I mean things like that. It's like something you'd expect to see 20 years ago. So seeing it now, I mean, that was a highlight for me going to that 100%. And yeah, no, Jersey's really like all over the place because like you play in South Jersey, it's a whole different scene than like I have up here in Central Jersey, which is pretty like pretty diverse, but it's like the hardcore scene is like vastly different than like the indie scene, and then like more up north is the shoegaze scene. So it's like north, south, north, central, and south kind of all bring their own vibes, but that's like symbolically why. Like again, this band is cool for like bridging the gap like that. So
Yeah, I feel like I need to do more exploring in terms of New Jersey, because like the only times I've ever gone to New Jersey is to see, Cut Down and Never Again, and it was only been 2 times. So
yeah,
I want to get back and see more of Jersey, see more bands.
yeah, no, it's great. Like I, as much shit as I'll talk on my own state, I love my own state. There's things to love, there's things to hate, but it's like you roll with the good, you roll with the bad. It's a great time over here. I am grateful at the end of the day to call myself a New Jersey resident, despite stigmas other state may give it,
Me
or like
too.
other states may give us over here. But
Kind of funny to that point because like when we first played our first New Jersey show, I want to say it was probably like 45 minutes or 50 minutes away from us in South Jersey. But then when we play Philly, so we're going into Pennsylvania, it's the same distance. If we're going to Delaware, it's an hour. And then sometimes we'll play a show maybe in like North Jersey. It could be 2 hours away. It's the same state, and it takes us farther to get there than it does to go to some other state. So it's just kind of it's I don't know. It's kind of weird like that. But
yeah,
it's cool to be able to be here and see the different scenes, see who's booking different kind of shows, and who all comes out. And it's been like a really exciting experience.